What's happening, guys? This is James Blum with MMOHut.com, and this time I've got a list that is constantly being requested by viewers. And although these new Alienware computers here playing in the background are pretty badass, MMORPG players shouldn't feel like they have to own one of these guys to enjoy a fun MMORPG. So I've managed to come up with a nice list of free-to-play MMORPGs that run nicely on low-spec PCs. Now, this topic is a little bit tough to draw the line on because pretty much any old MMORPG will play on all computers newer than probably 2006. Now, all of these games on the list minimum requirements are basically a 3.0 GHz Pentium 4 processor, which goes back to about 2002. And since you're already hurting on cash to the point that buying or upgrading to a better rig isn't really an option, this list sticks strictly to free-to-play business models and avoids freemium titles like Dungeons & Dragons Online and Lord of the Rings Online, although those are pretty good games that are playable on low-spec computers. So, based on user feedback at MMOHut, here's our list of the most popular titles that fall under the low-spec MMORPG category, in no particular ranking, starting with Atlantica Online. This was actually one of the best MMORPGs you could play back in 2008, if you like turn-based combat. This game has plenty to do in-game and plenty mercenaries to choose from, not to mention decent graphics for its time and requirements. The nice thing is, the cash shop seems to still be pretty clean according to longtime players. Another older game with similar graphics saved by Game Ago from the Outspark fallout is Fiesta Online. But before suggesting you jump right into Fiesta Online, you'll need to ask yourself two questions. Do you like dealing with people? And do you prefer your MMORPGs so cute it'll make you sick? So you're probably wondering, how did it make it through the collapse of Outspark? Well, it's got a pretty strong content base, a solid community, and that old school nostalgic graphic style that's just right for older rigs to sport on max settings. Now, Fiesta Online was one of the original free-to-play cutesy follow-ups to Nexon America's success with MapleStory. Now, we've got to add MapleStory on the list, and it's had its up and downs over the years, but this game requires so little specs on the computer, it probably has less requirements than most phone apps do today, despite the fact MapleStory is a pretty fun 2D adventure that has recently had a facelift, raising the level cap to 250, adding in new high-level areas, new themed dungeons, and plenty of other things to keep its community thriving. It's always good seeing an older game with new content always available, always being updated. And speaking of cutesy MMOs, Spirit Tales pretty much markets itself as the cutest MMO of all time. Well, I don't know, actually Legend of EDDA probably has it beat, but Spirit Tales is not trying to pretend it's something it's not. It's an experience that is meant to be casual and social and not exactly challenging, but players looking for that casual and social feel will get it and see that the game has potential. The only common demand in Spirit Tales is the request to add more content, sort of like our next game does, Eden Eternal. Now, even though this game just got a recent, let's say, reawakening makeover, the game still fits in the low PC requirements category, and that's nice because the game has so many systems implemented, it's like a one-stop shop for game features. In the most recent update, the developers have added new lighting effects that give the game a brighter look, along with upgrades to the movement system, allowing players to double jump and cast spells while in motion. People say the community in the game has its ups and downs and drives the player base around, but it's really a decent game worth trying for new players with outdated rigs. Now, on the opposite side of the community spectrum, we have EverQuest 2. Perhaps more than any title on this list, EverQuest 2 is the most dependent on joining up with the community to have a good time. And even after so many years, it's still one of the most fervent MMORPG communities you can join. Sure, the years of content and massive world that ties directly into the original EverQuest are nice touches, but let's be honest, it's the community and SOE's dedication to continuously updating this game after so many years that draws us to it. With so many MMORPGs of yesteryear closing right and left, it's a good feeling being under a publisher umbrella that shows dedication towards maintaining their older titles.
Skills against the greatest of rivals.
Is that the epic movie guy voice? This next one is for those of you who are looking for a low-spec MMORPG with superior character customization. As you might recall from our best customization video, Perfect World falls perfectly in this category. Now, this one is for those of you who aren't going to judge the game so harshly for having a taste for pay-to-win, but the game does have diverse and decently balanced classes with a unified world map and no loading other than the instant runs and guild versus guild events. Not to mention it's an older game that is still pretty regularly updated with new classes and content. Next up is the one and only Ragnarok Online. Now, the graphics in this game are so easy to manage, you might as well just be loading up a manga. The 2D hand-drawn style shines through on this game, but the decade plus of content speaks for itself. If exploration is your thing, Ragnarok's got plenty to go around. Prefer siege warfare, guild battles? It's got it. Fulfill grinds to unlock one of over a dozen class options? Yep, got you covered there too. I'm willing to bet that many would say, try as they might, 3D MMORPGs just can't properly capture the thrill of the original Ragnarok. Allods Online is another game that got off to a rough start due to a truly questionable cash shop model, but thankfully G-Potato has rectified the situation long ago, and it's in a much better standing than it used to be. But beyond this, Allods just brings so much to the table. It's got massive worlds, unique airship battles, tons of totally off-the-wall classes, an enviable faction PvP that you'll be hard-pressed to find something on par with even in the market right now. All within WoW-esque graphics that a machine on its last leg can manage. Now this last one here has got some pretty good attention lately with a new saga starting up right now. Mabinogi is a one-of-a-kind game with an endless list of unique features. Players can actually compose music, design their own gear, host a part-time job, and befriend NPCs, just to name a few. Players are even able to grow old over time, only to be reborn. Now, over the years the game has been out, it's changed in so many ways to conform to its player base. The combat system went from to some of the coolest in older games. From the day it launched, Mabinogi showed us that there is still room for original ideas in the MMORPG field. And so that hopefully gives you guys a nice list of successful games to try out if you're working on an old or non-gaming computer. There are honestly plenty of other really good games that work well on old machines. In fact, plenty of games nowadays have optimized themselves to run on a broad range of computers to make themselves playable to everyone. League of Legends is a really good example of that. Also, if you're looking for more fun games to try that meet these low spec requirements, definitely check out our list of best browser games. Other than that, hopefully this list helps out. I know you guys have been asking for it for a while. Feel free to share other games you know that have low PC requirements in the comments below. Thanks for watching, guys. Until next time, that's going to be it for me. I'm James Blonde. See you out there, gamers.